Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lauren Epstein, live in the booth here at Belly Gymnasium for this playoff basketball game where your Steamboat Springs boys basketball team is taking on the Marauders of Mitchell in what should be a fun one. Technical difficulties keeping us from being on the air terrestrially, but you can get us on the live stream at steamboatradio.com. Sailors inside. Pollard throws it out of bounds. And the Marauders are going to have their first possession of the game. So here we go now. It's Wilson Danks. Danks is going to handle it, top of the key. They work it around the horn. Inside, it's Dev Abney. Abney saves it from going out. And now worked back around. It's Savon Washington. Washington throws it away, and now quickly it's on the other end. Devin Crawford makes a man miss, and the first bucket of this one goes to the Sailors. And the Sailors get another steal. Here's Gideon getting the lay-in. Driving in now, that's the Marauders on the other end, and they can't get their shot to go either. So Sailors with a 4-0 lead. Now it's Devin Crawford near side top corner. Crawford's going to drive with his right hand, pull it back out. Now he's at the top of the key. Works it inside to Dawson Lindquist. Lindquist switches with Pollard. Now he comes off the pick and shoots the three. And Dawson Lindquist is going to hit that one in the face of Savon Washington. Make it 7-0. The Marauders trying to inch their way back into this one. Loud student section here for the Sailors as the Marauders come around at the top of the key. Here we go now. It's Wilson Danks. Danks is going to kick it out to Dom Ferris. Ferris will drive in. He'll get trapped in a phone booth in the paint. Now Savon Washington goes all the way to the rack, and his shot fouled and out of bounds. So they're not going to give him the foul. It was touched by Steamboat, though. And the Marauders are going to inbound it. So they go inside, and off the windows, it's going to be Tavares Washington for the first bucket of this one. 7-2. Devin Crawford pulls it out. Crawford works it over to the far side. Now it's going to be Dawson Lindquist. Lindquist stutter steps, brings it around top of the horn again. Metzler to Gideon. Gideon back down to Metzler. Now Metzler's going to work this one around. Here's Devin Crawford. Crawford inside, and a heater of a pass goes right to Jackson Metzler, and he can't get it to fall, but it will be a foul called against Mitchell. Excuse me, instead they're going to say it goes against Steamboat. So Metzler is going to get the foul. It's that'll result in a turnover, so the Marauders come back with it. Here's a three on the other end. That one's off the front iron and trickles in. Wilson Danks from deep, 7-5. 5:03 to play in the first quarter. Here's Devin Crawford. Crawford over to Metzler. This whole setup is just bad. I can barely hear myself. Gideon now again, not a little bit. It's just not, it's really clear. The other headset is way better. Now the Marauders working. Top of the key. Wilson Danks handles it. Danks guarded by Gideon. Danks is going to drive in, dish it back out, almost stolen away. And driving in is Leroy Pruitt. And Pruitt gets called for the charge. Sailors love that. So Pruitt gets the offensive foul called against him. And the Sailors are going to have a change here. Kellen Adams checks into the game. Granger Rowan will as well. And now it's going to be the Sailors It's the same. Pollard in the paint for 2. Woo, Sooners! 11-5. Pulling it out for 3. That one's short. Wilson Danks couldn't get that one to hit. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, all of you tuning in on KTYV 105.7 and online at steamboatradio.com. Lone Epstein, Lawton Chase along for this call against Mitchell. They were able to put some buckets in there, but the Sailors do have a lead 11-7 here in the opening quarter of play. I'll pass it over to Lowen.
Cade Gideon, the freshman sensation, what a season he had. He handles it out of the top of the key, gives it over to Lequist, and with the and one-pointer. Rainbowed that one all the way in, and now he's going to have a chance to make that a 4-point play.
Yeah, it's going to be big, Lowen. I'm excited about it. You're going to have to deal with it, buddy. Imperfect, but here we are. I'm excited about finally getting back here in the press box for the basketball, bud.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, maybe you should remember that. Put a smile on that face of yours. It's playoffs. 15-7 lead for Steamboat right now as Mitchell makes their way up the floor. Your Sailors in their home white uniforms with red numbers and trim, and they're right to left here on KTYV in the first half of play.
There's a floater from Leroy Pruitt, pulled away by the Sailors. Now quickly it's Dawson Lindquist. Lindquist up the far side. He'll slow things down, call out the play. Lindquist is going to get guarded by Savon Washington, top of the key. Gives it over to Kellen Adams. Back to Lindquist, lines up the tray, and he can't get it to go. It's going to be tipped out and into the arms of the Marauders. Here they go back on the other end. So the Sailors, with a 15-7 lead, doing a nice job of doubling up here early. The Marauders trying to get back into this one. Mitchell coming in with an 11-11 record, perfectly 500 on the season. There's a deep three and a hit from Dom Ferris. And Ferris is going to cause this crowd to go silent for the time being. Lindquist now. Back over to Kellen Adams. Adams, the sophomore. He looks inside. Back over to Lindquist, top of the key. They work in. It's Granger Rowan. Rowan in the phone booth. He gets it outside. Lindquist from the baseline. That one won't hit, and Dom Ferris flies in for the board. Ferris, the Marauders, stutter steps. Gives it over to Tavares Washington, the brother of Savon Washington. Washington now, out to Ferris. 3 in front of the student section. Can't get it to go. 15-10. The Sailors continue to hang by 5. 1:25 to go here in this first quarter. It's going to be worked over. Gideon, first playoff game for him in what is looking to be a long, illustrious career here at Steamboat Springs High School, the freshman. Lindquist now going to be trapped in the corner, gets it away to Adams. Now Adams sends it cross-court to Parker Lindquist. He goes right back with it, and now it's going to be stolen away by the Marauders. All the way to the rack, and he can't get it to go. That's Wilson Danks, and finally a whistle's going to be called. 2 shots coming here for Leroy Pruitt. Under a minute now to go in the first quarter.
Got to enjoy that, man. I mean, the Sailors have been doing a really good job of forcing some tough shots. I mean, that's one that you would think the Marauders team wanted. Wilson Danks had a layup that he made a nice move on just to open himself up to get free. Not able to pull that down. Sailors would have liked to have gotten some more boards on that action, but you know what? I think they're happy with their start thus far. I mean, first round of the playoffs, you're up 15-11 right now. Now 15-12 as Pruitt knocks down both of his from the charity stripe, but you got to enjoy the start right now for Steamboat.
Sailors starting hot. Seeing if they can end this first quarter with a big 3 here from Granger Rowan. No good. Bounces harmlessly off the backboard into the arms of Riley Randall. Randall now back on the other end for the Marauders. 15-12. Sailors hanging on to a 3-point lead. Here come the Marauders driving into the corner, and that one goes out of bounds. Tavares Washington was looking for Dom Ferris in the corner, and he just missed him. And Ferris telling him to just slow things down. We got plenty of time, 30 seconds on the clock. Sailor's going to have possession now, but let's see what they can do. Kellen Adams, little pitch and catch here. Top of the key as he works with Crawford. Crawford now swings it to Gideon. Gideon's going to slow things down, look to Coach Van Dahl for some advice. Now Gideon working. 15 seconds on the clock. Going to give it to Adams. Adams back to Gideon in the corner. The play didn't work out as they wanted to, and now it's Rowan over to Crawford. Last second three, and that one won't go. Pollard under the basket, and he can't get it either. So after one, the Sailors lead 15-12. Here at home against the Marauders. 105.7 KTYV. I'm Lowen Epstein with Vlad and Chase. Vlad, what'd you see in that first quarter?
Well, like I said, man, I was seeing a lot of screens, spending some time on that, figuring things out, but we got everything situated. I know that we've got green lights. Boxcast should be up and running. For those of you who are watching this one on the Steamboat Radio YouTube channel, thanks for tuning in. Lowen, like I was kind of trying to allude to, is a little bit broken, but Steamboat started off really strong. This is my first time in the booth here with you this year, and so it's been really fun because I've only been getting that secondhand knowledge of what this team is comprised of, but right now I'm really impressed. They've got this high-scoring, potent offense. Imagine, if they were shooting a little bit better today, they could have, a 8-9 point lead right now. As it is, just 3, and that's only 1 or 2 of those buckets going in, right? So I'm excited about the second quarter here that we're about to see, but I got to tell you, Vlad, this Marauders team, just based off of the way I saw them play in that first quarter and their body language and how they look to me, this looks like a very sound basketball team. You're not seeing them get flustered about anything. You're seeing them take very clear, wide-open shots. This is a well-coached team by Tyron Wright. And their Sailors are lucky they're only down by 3. Driving in. Up by 3, excuse me. Washington's going to kick it to his brother. Here's Savon. Top of the key now, Dom Ferris. He pump fakes, puts up a floater. That one rainbows into the arms of the Sailors. He gets it back somehow, puts one hard off the glass. No good. And the Sailors come away with it to start off this second quarter. Kellen Adams loses his footing, out of bounds. And just like that, the Marauders get it back. Dom Ferris with some good defense there. Nice to see a good crowd that came out here. It's the first round of the playoffs. Hopefully it fills out a little bit here. Yeah, unbelievable up and down the roster. Like you were pointing out, it's a full senior squad for Mitchell.
And you know what that means? This is potentially the last game for this entire Mitchell team. Every single player is a senior. And it just goes to show you, Mitchell, coming from Colorado Springs, a bigger school than we're used to seeing. Here's Pollard driving in, and he draws the foul. Eric Pollard, the big center, 6'7". He's really come into his own this year. Last year he was definitely a blip on Coach Van Dahl's radar, and they didn't really know what he was going to turn into. And man, oh man, did that pan out well for them. He has just come into his own, especially in these last 5-6 games of the season.
What I'm going to look for from him, though, is the impact he'll have on this game. He's the biggest kid out there by a couple inches, and he's already missed a couple under the basket. If he can, connect on some of these, he'll be getting his looks today. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the 8 to 10 field goal shots, under the hoop, really. But he's got to connect on at least 60-70% of those to give the Sailors their best chance.
Especially, Vlad, since offense for this game for Eric Pollard should definitely be his number one priority. He doesn't have an assignment like he usually does. There's no big man. There's no big center to that he has to guard on the defensive end. So 100% of Eric Pollard's energy should be focused on putting the ball in the basket. That's the only way they're going to beat this Marauders team as they head to the free throw line right now.
It looks as though the Marauders, this is a squad came up from Mitchell. Like you said, it's a 4.5 hour drive. First one is good from Washington, one of the captains here on the team. The Sailors need to capitalize on the next, 6:39 of this one. Once the second half comes around, Marauders will shake that lactic acid out of the legs. They'll be getting under themselves and start kind of clicking, I think. So Steamboat has to take advantage of this first half.
Still a 3-point game here at Kelly Meeks, 17-14, Sailors leading. It's Lindquist into the corner, finds Gideon. And this zone defense from the Marauders looking to be
pretty decent thus far, and they find a gap in it, and that's Jackson Metzler coming back door for the nice lay-in off the window.
That's exactly it. It looks like it's a zone, but they're kind of an aggressive 3-2 zone. And if the Sailors can pull that second player like they just did, someone's going to be open. You just have to make the pass. Great play there, and a 5-point lead again.
Coach Van Dahl playing the corners game, so basically Vladdy's going to have 2 guards in the corner when they run that, and when they run that zone defense, usually you're going to be looking for a big man to come and make that backdoor play, but instead he's sending Jackson Metzler, which kind of flies under the radar a little bit more, and because of that, they find him wide open in the paint, and he gets the 2 buckets.
Both teams trading some misses here as Mitchell tries to come right back. Looks as though a carry is called from the Mitchell senior, one of, well, everyone on the roster.
That's Dom Ferris, yeah. Ferris, the point guard on this team, he's really one of that's who the offense goes through, if you may. Dom Ferris, the Washington brothers as well. So this Marauders team jam-packed with talent and a lot of experience too. Sailors going to take a timeout now. I want to say a quick shout out to some of our sponsors here on 105.7 KTYV and on the World Wide Web at SteamboatRadio.com.
I want to thank Yampa Valley Bank. The Yampa Valley's only locally owned bank, member FDIC. Also Alpine Lumber, employee owned and operated, the contractor's choice, the homeowner's friend. And Mountain View Car Wash, helping the Sailors clean the competition between town and McDonald's on Highway 40. Russell's Auto Salon is another proud supporter of Sailors Athletics here on KTYV. Your premier full-service auto body shop where you always meet by accident. You can call Russell's at 879-1515. Sailors are getting the last little bits and pieces from the coaching staff. They'll break the huddle last and have the ball on the far side. Low and 5-point lead. If my ideal situation here, 5.5 to go in the quarter and the half, they lead by 8, 9, or even 10 points at half. I think that would give them their best shot.
Yeah, they're playing good basketball right now. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I just think you got to keep playing your way and, let the little mistakes kind of run off your shoulders, because especially in these big playoff games, there's a play there from Eric Pollard. Pollard throws it down and gets the student section going a little bit, but like I was saying, Vlad, sometimes these little mistakes that happen in big games, they turn out to
come back and haunt you.
They come back and haunt you, so the Sailors just really need to let them roll off, not pay too much attention to them, and clean things up just like that right there. They tried to force it into Pollard, and they get it stolen away. That's Saval Washington. Quickly now inside, his brother going for it. That's Tavares. He misses it. Pulled away back out, and the length of Tarvis Washington as he just flew to the rim. Draws the foul. What an athletic play from him.
And that's what I'm starting to see. It looks like exactly what I said, right? Mitchell, a few of their players, they're at different times. They're starting to shake out and get into this game a little bit. Steamboat has to continue to just play their game, right? So often from the Sailors coaching staff, you hear, we just need to play Sailors basketball. And I think that's what they need to continue to do here. They've got the 6-point lead as Washington was able to knock this first down. Sorry.
Rod, you can tell they're a very disciplined, big front-range team, too, because any team that's in this situation, especially against Steamboat, down 21-16, I'd look over typically and I'd see their coach freaking out. I'd see him yelling at his players, things like that. Calm, cool, and collected on the bench for the Marauders, and frankly, I'm worried to see that.
I will tell you what, man, seniors up and down the lineup. Big drop there for Lindquist, popping an 18-footer, getting 2 more on the board for Steamboat. That's what it is. They are comprised of 4-year players who have been up and down the system here for this coach, and so they know what to expect. And inside of game, even down right now by 7 to your Sailors, they know what they need to do. Steamboat, it's really in their hands. Are they going to continue to score? If they can put that output out for point-wise and point totals, I like our chances.
There's a 3 from the corner. Riley Randall couldn't get it to hit.
Went out of bounds there. It hit above the basket, and so Steamboat will take over. I do want to, while I can, say big thanks to Steamboat Ace Hardware, the helpful place for hardware, plumbing, tools, grills, garden, and more, offering customers knowledgeable advice, helpful service, and quality products.
Ace getting their own mid-game shout-out now, Vlog?
Absolutely.
Here we go. It's Kellen Adams, and a little miscommunication there. Parker Lindquist couldn't tell if it was coming to him or Devin Crawford, and they both put their hands up in the air as if to say, not me. And that ball goes all the way to the other end out of bounds. Sailors with a turnover there. So here's Leroy Pruitt. Pruitt going to be guarded by Devin Crawford. Into the corner he goes with it. Pruitt now finds Wilson Danks. Danks over to 7 Washington, and Washington's pass is tipped up and stolen away by Lindquist. Lindquist is going to run the floor. He goes all the way to the rack with it, farm to table, and can't get it to fall. Dawson Lindquist trying to do too much as Leroy Pruitt comes back with it. Here's Riley Randall. They work it around the horn. The Washington brothers playing a little pitch and catch at the top of the key. Now it's going to be Wilson Danks. Danks into the corner and stolen away by Crawford. He just picked his pocket. And the younger Lindquist brother, Parker Lindquist, just puts up a heave. I'm not sure where he was going with that one. Tried to put up a shot at airball. And so once again, the Marauders are having another opportunity, and the Sailors steal it away. So turnover after turnover here in Kelly Meek Gymnasium for both squads as the Sailors look to get things back on track with a Gideon 3. No good, rims out. Parker Lindquist with the rebound, and Lindquist just loses it. Riley Randall's there to corral that one. What do you think of that series of
you're absolutely right. Back-to-back, turnovers. And then again, right? I really think, though, that you can see that Parker Lindquist, not quite as composed as his older brother Dawson, but not a big deal, right? This is things that are naturally going to occur in a game like this where you have such a young roster for Steamboat and Coach Van Dahl. So right now, you're happy. You're up by 7. You want to make sure that you're not bleeding any points away. Too many steps there.
And Wilson Danks is going to get called for the travel. He thought he had the end one play on that. Instead, he gets called for steps, and it comes back the other direction.
I don't know why he's arguing so hard. I mean, he tried the Euro step, but clearly came down with that, that last one. And Steamboat now, they just got to capitalize, right? You can't go scoreless and have empty possessions. You've done a great job defensively. That's what we haven't really talked about. This Marauders team, for all that we have, up-talked their play, they are still only sitting at 16 points. You just can't continue to give away possessions to them. Otherwise, you open the door for them to come back in this one.
And the Sailors, with another empty possession, missed shot turns into an over-the-back call. And in turn, that results in a Marauders getting it back. So here we go now for Wilson Danks. Danks is going to go between his legs, get it caught for a moment. Crawford came up to play defense. Now they work it around the horn. It's going to be Dom Ferris. Ferris dishes it out to Savon Washington. Now in the corner, it's Randall for 3, and he ices it up. Riley Randall makes it 23-19.
Still a 2-possession game. Big possession for Steamboat, though. They need points. Doesn't need to be a 3. You don't need a match right now, but you need to get at least a bucket.
Here's Adams driving in. Goes behind his back. It's Crawford in the corner. Crawford's pass is going to be stolen by Washington, as Savon Washington using his big, long reach to pick that one away. On the other end, Dom Ferris just slicing through like butter. Dom Ferris getting straight to the rack, and just like that, Vlad, it's a 2-point game. 45 seconds to go here in the first half. 23-21. Top of the key, it's Crawford. They work it around the horn. Now it's going to be Cade Gideon. Gideon, the freshman, finds Crawford again. Coach Van Dahl running with the young lineup. Let's see if it pays off. Crawford, guarded by Randall. He's got 26 on the clock. Sailors want the last shot. It's Devin Crawford.
Who do you put it in the hands of for this?
Crawford's going to his right. Obviously, they're looking for Gideon. Gideon at the top of the key. 12 seconds on the clock. Gideon trying to make something happen. Back to Kellen Adams in the corner. Crawford lines it up, and the travel's going to be called on him. So the Sailors waste their final possession, and now with 4.4 on the clock, the Marauders get it back.
That was a good call on that. He kind of dragged his foot over.
I thought so too. And to answer your question, I probably want it in the hands of Metzler or Gideon. In this situation, without Metzler on the floor, obviously, you look to maybe Dawson Lindquist. Final shot there from the Marauders, and that'll do it for this first half of action. Sailors going to head into the locker room leading 23-21. For Vlad and Chase, I'm Lowen Epstein on 105.7 KTYV and on the World Wide Web at SteamboatRadio.com. We'll see you after the break.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. Vlad and Chase alongside Lone Epstein here for the beginning of half 2 of the first round of the playoffs. Trey ball there from Cade Gideon is good, but that really just matches because there was a 3 at the other end for this Mitchell squad. The Marauders right now down by 2 to your Steamboat Sailors. But you know what, Lone? We talked about it heading into that halftime, and I said 8, 9, or 10 points. That's the lead Steamboat needs. They had a 2-point spread. We'll see what happens here.
26-24. You're right, Vlad. Saval Washington and Cade Gideon trading threes to start off this third quarter. Let's see if the Sailors can keep up that nice first half tempo. I was really impressed with the way they played, especially on the defensive end. Like you said, Vlad, this Marauders team does look good, but the Sailors were able to shut them down for the most part, and so hopefully they can match that here in this second half. 26-24, the Sailors lead by 2. They're going to have it on the offensive end with Cade Gideon inbounding it. Gideon looks up, finds Lindquist right under the basket, and he just goes up and over the top of Savon Washington for the bucket. 28-24 now. Sailors piling on 2 more. Let's see if the Marauders can answer. In the corner, it's Wilson Danks now up top. They give it to Leroy Pruitt, and Pruitt, there's going to be a whistle called here, an off-ball foul. An off-ball foul against the Sailors. So Mitchell's going to get it back now with Wilson Danks inbounding in the offensive zone. Danks is going to find Saval Washington. He goes up and over the top of Gideon for 2 more. The senior taking the freshman to school there as they put it within 2, 28-26.
Shifted around. They're now in that 2-3 zone, but it's pretty aggressive. They push out to these guys. We'll see how the Sailors respond.
In the corner, Gideon again. He'll stutter step, then find Metzler cross court. Metzler's going to volleyball that one to Crawford. Crawford finds Gideon in a tight situation, and he shoots a 3, no good. Excuse me, that was Lindquist. Lindquist gets it back, spin move inside, and he gets it to drop. Dawson Lindquist putting this team on his back.
We'll see if it's enough. He's looking pretty solid, but he needs a little bit of supporting help from some of these guys.
He wants it. 30-26. Marauders trying to hang on. It's going to be Dom Ferris inside, outside to Saval Washington. Now in the corner, it's worked over. Tarvis Washington handles it. Top of the key now to his brother Savon. Now back up to Dom Ferris. Good defense here from the Sailors. Ferris is going to dance with it, drive in, and off the window for 2 more. That one will silence the crowd.
I like Dom Ferris, man. He's got the finesse.
He does. He's very saucy with it. He's got good handles, and his dribble package is as bad as deep as his shooting package is, too. So, yeah, Dom Ferris, the main guy on this team. Lindquist. They're going to call off the bucket and say it was on the floor. Are they going to give him 2? They will. Yeah. So it's a shooting foul, and Lindquist is going to have a chance to put him up by 4. 30-28, Sailors hanging on. I really like Dom Ferris. I really like Saval Washington, too. I think he's got a great basketball IQ. You watch him move in space. He just seems like he knows where to be at all times. Lindquist misses the first one. That's going to be another thing, Vlad. Is this game going to come down to free throws? Because we've seen it happen in the past, especially with the Sailors, who are a pretty inconsistent free throw team. If it comes down to a couple points in the final seconds, these free throws are going to matter, and luckily Lindquist hits the second one there.
Foul's also going to matter. It was a pretty clean first half. No bonus territory for either squad. 3 ball off the mark there from Riley Randall, but that's going to definitely have an impact on this game as well down the stretch, Lowen, as it so often does. You know, teams like you're talking about, they need to make the free throws when they get them, but right now 2-1 in that team respect with Mitchell having 2 team fouls.
31-28, Sailors hanging on to a lead here as it's going to be Kellen Adams running point guard. Top of the key, moving left to right on your radio dial. Here we go now to Granger Rowan.
Real quick, I wanted to step in here. These are the big pieces inside of a game. When you're able to get a stop, bucket there underneath for Dawson Lindquist, when you're able to get that defensive stop and turn it around and make points at the other end, those become really, really critical because we are dealing with high school students here. There's a big psyche factor to this game. 3-ball at the other end, off the mark, rebound comes down to a Mitchell player.
That's Dom Ferris.
But it's going to be big.
Dom Ferris picks that one out of the paint. Now he gets it to Leroy Pruitt. Pruitt gets his own rebound. Now he'll send it in the corner. Pruitt's pass is going to be deflected, and the Sailors come away with a steal there. So big turnover for Steamboat Springs as it's Granger Rowan near side top corner. Rowan kicks it out to Crawford, and now Devin Crawford is just going to slow things down. Kellen Adams to Crawford, wide open in the corner. Can't knock it down. Pollard on the rebound. Rowan on the out step, and he gets it back into Pollard. Baseline, cross court, inside, Lindquist. Can't get it to go. Pollard, second attempt finally. And so the perseverance pays off. Lindquist couldn't get it to go, and finally Pollard knocks that one home to pile on to this lead. That's good basketball right there.
It is, and you know what? If Pollard can start to establish himself as that physical presence, that could also really shift this one. I don't think that I've seen anyone on this Mitchell team that could counter Eric Pollard, so he could be a big factor.
I haven't seen anyone be able to out-rebound him either. That's going to be another huge factor. Pollard right now is cleaning up along the boards. So is Dawson Lindquist, because Lindquist matches up with any of these guys out here for Mitchell, but Mitchell just has no chance right now at clearing the boards, especially with Pollard on the floor. I mean, he's just going up and snagging them.
Offensive and defensive, right? He's on both sides.
Metzler for three, rims out, no good. That one was halfway down before it popped out, and now Mitchell's going to get it back down 35-28. Into the corner, Dom Ferris sends it cross court. Leroy Pruitt for three, can't knock it down. Pulled away from the Sailors. Here's Gideon. Gideon works it over. Here's Rowan teeing up the tray. No good.
This is pretty fun to watch. You absolutely talked about it at length, but seeing these guys just tee it up, it's so much fun.
It is. It's a very high-octane Sailors team. Pruitt inside, and he goes over the top of Metzler. And right there, you could see the defensive laps for the Sailors. Pollard was supposed to be in the 5 spot in the paint, and Metzler ended up having to go cover for him. Pruitt goes right over the top. That's an easy bucket. Off the window, Pollard makes up for it with the two-pointer. 37-30. Wow, 1:48 to go here in the third.
I love what I'm seeing right now from Steamboat. If the deeper into this game you get, with Mitchell not having really led at any juncture, if I recall, they haven't led at all. The deeper you get into it, the more confidence you establish in your game, and then all of a sudden, this calm demeanor that we've talked about becomes more of a trap for the Marauders.
1:39 to go here in the third, Vlad. I mean, when does the sense of urgency start to kick in?
Not until halfway through the fourth. Depends on what the score spread is. But right now, another bucket. This is a 4-point game or 5-point game as it stands. So there's nothing to be too worried about if you're coming from that Mitchell perspective. But if you start to find yourself down 7 or 8, halfway through the fourth, and that's been the case the whole game, that starts to really inch into your being.
So here we go with the Sailors back on offense, holding on to a 37-32 lead. It's going to be Kellen Adams at the top of the key. Ferris is making him go right, and he will. So Adams goes back around the horn with it, into the corner, and Gideon just can't hang on to it, drops it right in front of the student section, and they can't believe it. No sounds at all coming from over there, and that's going to be a turnover for the Sailors with a $1:01 to go in the third. So here's Leroy Pruitt. He's been the hot hand here in the third. Let's see if they continue that trend. Tarvis Washington over to his brother Savon. Now it's Dom Ferris. Ferris telling everyone to clear out. Gives it back to Riley Randall. Randall in the corner. Savon Washington driving in. And it's a foul on the Sailors. Savon Washington heading to the free throw line to see if he can knock down 2 more. 41 seconds to go here in the third. Foul goes against Kellen Adams, his second of the game, and both these teams with really no foul trouble at all. This is really the only like the sixth time we've seen free throws this game.
So yeah, there's been some more off-the-ball fouls because we've got 5 thus far between both squads. Rebound is brought in by Steamboat, but it's pretty interesting. It's been a really quick-paced game, which usually lends itself to fouls, but both teams are doing an excellent job here. And it's playoff basketball. Referees are going to let you go a little bit more.
So here we go with the Sailors. Final 25 seconds here in the third. Rowan inside finds Lindquist. Lindquist working in a phone booth. He's going to lose his footing and draw the foul. So that goes against Savon Washington, his third of the game. Now he's going to take a seat on the bench.
Just as we start talking about it, right? Once these teams are heading to that peak of the game, the fourth quarter, and that's really when both teams are going to start to see players just get a little bit more passionate. That was one of those plays, maybe, right? Where he's got 3. He actually might have to start thinking about that. He doesn't want to foul out.
Kellen Adams beams that one into the stands. A little too high for Gideon.
I think he saw Spencer Romig up there. I think he was trying to get a quick signature on the ball before they resume play.
37-33, final 10 seconds here. Top of the key. Pruitt for 3. Can't hit. Rebound Metzler. Metzler at the buzzer. Ooh, that one won't go, and that'll do it.
Just see him get it off.
That'll do it after 3. Sailors leading 37-33. Vlad, interesting game here.
Yeah, it
could go either way.
So this first couple minutes is going to be pretty indicative of what we're going to see down the stretch, right? Fourth quarter of action. Now all of a sudden, these seniors, it's a senior-laden squad like we talked about, Lowen. They're all facing the end of their high school basketball careers. This is it. We'll see what happens. I know they'll lay it all on the line. Do they do it with composure, or do they kind of get a little bit excited and maybe start fouling a little bit more? We'll see. The Sailors, that they're going to be coached well. Coach Van Dahl's always got that one situated. While I've got a quick second, Lowen, I do want to thank a few more of the sponsors. The Paoli Group, if you're searching for your own prime real estate, you can give them a call at 870-0552. Celebrations, formerly in Celebration of Kids. It's fun for kids of all ages. Check out the brand new arcade game, 1,600 square foot candy store, and 25 flavors of Hawaiian shaved ice plus more. Schedule your party today at SteamboatCelebrations.com. Hot Stuff Hearth and Home, Steamboat Resorts by Wyndham Vacation Rentals, and Mountain Mattress and Furniture all are also proud supporters of Sailors Athletics here on KTYV 105.7 and online at SteamboatRadio.com. So, Lowen, left to right here on 105.7. Sailors in their home white uniforms, red numbers and trim. And this is it. This is the first round of the playoffs. They are up by 4 heading into the final stanza.
Fourth and final frame of action here on 105.7 KTYV. Thanks for staying tuned in here. Dom Ferris is going to get us kicked off. Now it's going to be Savon Washington. Dips it out to Ferris. Ferris is going to drive in. Nice fake, and he nails the shot. That's the niftiest play of the game right there from Dom Ferris. He had the entire Sailors defense looking the other way. Hits the 10-footer in their face. Pretty basketball. Gideon now around the horn. Lindquist really hasn't come off the floor this entire game. He looks inside, finds Pollard, give and go, over to Lindquist, and he gets that one to go. So the nice play, the nice little two-man game from Pollard and Lindquist pays off, and you don't typically see that with 2 big guys running the pick and roll like that. That was pretty much done to perfection. 4-point game, 39-35. Ferris handles it. Now over to Savon Washington. And a 3 right there from Randall, and Randall just misfires on that one. Gideon quickly pulls it out. Metzler back to Gideon. They have shots inside. Here's Pollard. Pollard gets trapped and sends it up to Metzler. Metzler now back to Gideon. Inside, Pollard under the basket, and the foul. Leroy Pruitt flies in, trying to grab the board. Instead, catches a little bit of Eric Pollard, sends him to the free throw line.
6:34 to go here. We talk about the free throws down the stretch being critical. It also is pretty big at this juncture. You're looking at a 4-point lead, potentially 6 if you can make both. First one is pretty flat, but it's in. from Eric Pollard.
Pollard gets the Sailors to...
I mean, he's almost at the range. He can just, like, reach up and almost go directly down.
Yeah, like the Jokic 3, just no step, no jump, nothing. Pollard for his second one, and Dom Ferris just came off the floor. And Pollard can't hit. So 5-point game, 40-35. 6:31 to go here in this one. Here's Pruitt. Pruitt works it around the horn. Riley Randall now back to Pruitt, far side. Pruitt over to Savon Washington, now back down low. Here's Wilson Danks. Danks is going to take it with his right hand, go behind the back, out to Pruitt. Pruitt for three, and that one won't go. Tipped out by the Marauders, and the Sailors retain possession.
I was wrong. It took to the 6-minute mark before Mitchell started stepping it up. If you noticed, Lowen, that was the fastest possession they've played offensively this whole game. The movement off the ball was there, and you can see that now they're thinking, okay, 5-point spread here. Steamboat's done a great job. Here's a nice little pass under the basket, kicked right back outside, and a floater from 6, no good. Rebounded under the hoop, another chance, no good on that, but he'll shoot 2. But what I was saying, just to finish the thought and let you take over here, you can see them pick their pace up. They have not been able to get back and tie things up with Steamboat so far throughout the game. They want that desperately, and that'll lead to fouls and turnovers potentially if Steamboat can keep their composure.
The biggest thing I've seen with the Marauders is really just their ability to guard Eric Pollard in the paint. That's been their biggest issue. They're doing an okay job guarding the Sailors on the perimeter, which is really your biggest need, especially with how good this team is at shooting. But Pollard has been cleaning up around the boards. He's been making pretty much all his shots under the basket, all the high percentage ones. Just a great game from him, and got to give him props. And a missed free throw
just
there from...
a quick note, Savon Washington now sitting at 4 fouls. So he is checked out of the game, but he's a big key piece for this Mitchell team.
Dom Ferris back in the game, and that's big for them. Wilson Danks now dancing. Here's Randall in the corner. Driving is Washington, and that's taken away. Washington was looking for the cross-court pass, and Devin Crawford thought otherwise.
Yeah, he read that one the whole way. Great work from Crawford, being patient, not falling for any of those nice little head fakes. Now an intercept at the other side for Mitchell.
And Ferris gets it back, so Ferris misses the layup. Second attempt, he's a dog, and Dom Ferris knocks it home with 3 on him. Holy cow, this kid has no stop.
I do have to point out, though, he created that second chance because he missed his first one. You can see Ferris, his mind moving a little bit faster sometimes than his body, and when that happens, you miss easy layups. He had that first chance, and I think he anticipated a little bit harder of a defensive push there from Dawson Lindquist, didn't get it. So it's just all this mental games. It's the intricacies inside of basketball. 5:03 to go, Lowen. It's a big next 5 minutes for the Steamboat basketball team. Up 41-37.
41-37, like you said, Vlad, and Dom Ferris with a huge bucket for the Marauders there. Sailors looking to answer. And the other thing I've seen that's interesting, Vlad, with this game is that it's been back and forth so much, but we really haven't seen a full court press by either team.
Yeah.
Which is something that you see so much in high school basketball. It's really just a basic strategy to go and get the ball back, but both these coaches are so confident with their team's defense and their team's possession with the ball that they don't feel the need to go press the opposite team. You would think that the Marauders would press the Sailors down by this many points, but they're not. And same goes for the Sailors, although they lead 41-37. Here's Dom Ferris. Ferris inside, and to cap that one off was Tarvis Washington. He couldn't, though. Pollard's there for the board.
Now, big man, those boards becoming more and more critical down the stretch.
Look at Dom Ferris. Watch his body language. You can tell he wants it so bad. I love seeing that. He's just got so much energy. You can tell he'll do it himself if he has to. And Ferris doing some damage defensively. Does he get it out? Wow. Leroy Pruitt catches the pass, and the Marauders now back on offense. And they throw it away. So it comes full circle, and the Sailors get it back. Here we go now for Dawson Lindquist. Lindquist, he's guarded by Pruitt. Sends it cross court to Gideon. Gideon guarded by Riley Randall. This is a very punishing defense from the Marauders. They're going all out with the man D. Let's see if Dom Ferris can get another takeaway. Gideon again, looking for somewhere to go with it. He's trapped. Randall all over him, and finally Coach Van Dahl calls a timeout as the Sailors were left clueless out there, wondering what to do. Tough D from the Marauders. What do you think, Vaughn?
You don't hear it a lot, but the Sailors actually on their heels, even with possession on that.
Yeah.
They were not the instigators on any of those plays. It was all reactive rather than proactive. I think that Coach Van Dahl, excellent time to take that timeout. He made it a full one. He's going to get into these ears and say, hey, boys, look at what we got. 41-37 lead. We got to make sure we just keep scoring points. At this juncture, you don't need to worry about three balls. Take what's open because the other side of the coin for this Marauders' vicious defense is they are double teaming sometimes. They're sending that second guy. If you can get the quick passes off, you have an open guy.
Yep. And it'll be interesting to see the pressure already mounting for the Marauders. It'll be interesting to see how much they continue to press the Sailors. It's working out for them right now. Dom Ferris, active hands. He's gotten a couple takeaways here. Sailors just need to keep the rock moving. Like you said, find the open man, and I'm sure it's going to come inside. Believe that. Expect it. Look for Eric Pollard. I mean, he's going to be wide open. He's a last-second ditch effort. You know, if you're getting trapped in the corner, what do? You throw it to the 6'7" kid.
Yeah, the one who's got 3 inches, you know, just from height on these kids, not to say arm length, which is just an extended, an extension to that.
Crawford inbounds it to Lindquist. Lindquist now finds Gideon. Gideon going to dance with it. He's guarded by Riley Randall, and now a foul's going to be called here. Ferris got a little bit too aggressive, and he got it on the floor. Now Ferris talking to Crawford. He's in his ear.
That's because Crawford's been giving it to him defensively. Crawford, even when the ball was near side. I mean, Ferris and Crawford, they don't like each other very much right now.
Ferris and Crawford going at it. Gideon now, he'll give it back to Crawford. Ferris all over him immediately. Top of the key now, it's Lindquist. D, good man D here. Lindquist slips on it, throws it up, and Dom Ferris comes away with the steal. And Ferris wins another battle with Devin Crawford. He's been dominating.
He just looked all the way down the court to Devin Crawford when he did that.
And now a floater inside. They threw it away again. The Marauders just shooting themselves in the foot at this point. 3 minutes to play in the ball game. In the corner, Metzler back to Lindquist, and Lindquist gets called for...
Looks like a possessive foul.
It's going to be a foul on the floor.
No, it should be 1-1.
Oh, it will be 1-1. That's correct. So this is huge now. This will send Lindquist to the free throw line.
Now we're into it. We're into what we talked about, that critical.
Now the urgency.
Not just the urgency. I think that they picked it up. I think the critical free throws, right? 1-1. They're in bonus territory, and there's a miss from Lindquist. So under 3 to go in the game. 41-37 still the score. We've had some empty possessions for both teams here over the course of the last minute and a half.
You've got plenty of time. You've got to realize that. You don't want to get too jittery and start taking shots that you shouldn't be taking. Inside now, here we go. It's Washington. Puts up a floater, no good, and Gideon comes away with it. So
you're calling that a floater, huh?
Once again.
It's about as flat as they come.
And now Pruitt steals it away and gets the bucket. So these teams just very on their toes right now. A timeout's going to be called from Coach Van Dahl.
It was Mitchell.
41-39. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does.
Not really. They both still have 5 timeouts.
I'm just saying, man, it's big. The coach might be putting in a full court press here. Who knows?
Could be. 41-39. 2:30 to play.
Don't be looking at me like that.
Oh, you don't call me out live on air then.
So yesterday, I was refereeing some hockey, and I went to go put my hand up for delayed offsides, and then, it was just a really quick play, bang, bang, and they washed out. They all touched up, at the same time and went in, and I looked like an idiot. But I thought to myself after that game, I'm like, is it right to look bad but be right?
No.
Yes. The answer is yes, Lowen. You'd rather be right than to just look good.
You'd rather be right.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Vlad's shedding some wisdom here. It's better to be right than it is to look cool. And Dom Ferris with another steal. He goes all the way to the rack for 2 more. You want to talk about putting the team on your back. Look at Dom Ferris, number 11, doing big things. This Marauders team hasn't led for really at all this entire game. 41-41 now. They have a chance here to take it. And a foul, a jump ball. Wow. So they're going to give Pruitt the jump ball, and Lindquist can't believe it. And they give it to, is it going to be Steamboat? It will be. So that's a huge call. Lindquist thought he had the foul. Instead, they give him the jump ball, and now the Sailors get it back. So offensively, here's Lindquist under the basket, and he just muscles his way in for that bucket, and that's a muscular mismatch right there. Lindquist just taking him to town. 43-41. Can Mitchell respond? Wilson Danks.
Oh, wow. Took some steps.
And he gets called for a travel.
Now here comes the press.
And that's a huge call. That's big for Steamboat. 43-41. 96 seconds to go in this one.
Now a bucket puts it out to 2 possessions. That's huge.
Who took the timeout?
I didn't see.
I didn't see either. I think it was Coach Van Dahl, but I'm not sure. Either way, both these teams in a timeout. That's the point, Vlad. 43-41. 96 seconds to go in this one. And another game awaits for the winner of this. And a nice warm bed awaits for the loser of this, as they will be going home. Remember, every single player on this Mitchell team is a senior. Every single one.
That's crazy, man.
So this Mitchell team is truly playing for their careers. As the Sailors are going to inbound. Metzler gives it to Gideon. Gideon's going to be guarded by Alex Anderson. Haven't heard his name all game. Anderson gets it away. It's on the floor. That's a jump ball, and that's going to be given to Mitchell. 43-41. 1:24 on the clock. Mitchell's going to inbound it now. Wilson Danks from the far side. Danks.
Chatting with the Zebras there.
Danks gives it to Anderson. Back to Danks. Now he hands it off to Pruitt. Pruitt going to be patient with it. Washington in the corner now. Top of the key, it's Anderson. Anderson between his legs. Anderson with the left hand. Anderson with the shot. And Pruitt with the rebound. No good. It's a foul on the floor.
Lindquist. Now, the other thing to factor in here, Mitchell's at 7, so Steamboat's in the bonus. Any fouls that they get incurred upon them, they will be going to going up for a 1-and-1.
Yeah, that's a good thought, Vlad.
Other side of it, Steamboat's got a few to give. 2 to give now.
They have 2 to give, so they've got to be wary of that, because if somehow Mitchell is able to ring off a few buckets here, all of a sudden Sailors find themselves down, then you're rushing because you have fouls to give. It's not necessarily a good thing because you can't immediately send them to the free throw line. You get what I'm saying?
I got you, buddy. I got you.
Sailors leading 43-41, and I think this would be a wire-to-wire lead. I don't think that Mitchell's led at all.
I think you're right. No, you absolutely are, because remember, it was you talked about it. Lindquist got the first bucket, and that was when Dom's like, we got 3.5 more quarters to play, buddy.
So the Sailors looking to complete the victory. 1:04 on the clock. In what is going to be a
This is a good one, man.
So it was a terrific game. Either way, that's exactly right, Rod. Whoever comes out on top, what a stunning game from both these teams. Mitchell coming all the way from Colorado Springs, the Kelly Meek here, playing a great game against the Sailors. They're going to inbound it. Here's Wilson Danks. Danks gives it over, and a shot there, and it's an offensive foul.
Wow.
So Devin Crawford with maybe the biggest play of the game as he sacrifices his body and creates the turnover.
And a timeout taken by Coach Vandal.
Wow. So the Mitchell Marauders are going to have to play some defense as Devin Crawford sacrificed his body, draws the offensive foul, and the Sailors are back in business. Big time possession here. Let me ask you, Vlad, who do you think the ball goes to?
Man, looking at it, I'm getting it inside to Eric. Pollard's been big, and the second piece of that is he's likely one-on-one with the man underneath the hoop, whereas they've been pushing out to the guys beyond the three. So I put it in Eric's hand and say, hey, get some easy points, make this a two-possession game.
Go close this thing out. I agree with you. So the Sailors coming back onto the floor. It'll be Granger, Rowan, Devin Crawford, Cade Gideon, Dawson Linquist, and Jackson Metzler. Your five out there to close this one out. Crawford's going to inbound it. Full court press put in play by the Marauders. He overshoots the home run ball. Looking for Dawson Linquist.
You got to put Cade Gideon back there. He's a quarterback.
That's exactly right. So he overshoots him, throws it all the way down, and now that's a turnover. So 56 seconds on the clock, and the Marauders have it in their offensive zone.
Yeah, big thing on that was no time came off either.
Yeah. Wilson Danks, top of the key, slips and falls. Washington gets it off to Pruitt. Pruitt's going to dance with it. Pruitt spins inside. Pruitt gets the shot to fall. 43-43. Sailors making quick work. Linquist top of the key. Linquist over to Gideon, and his shot's pinned against the backboard. Biggest block of the game, and it's a foul. Are they going to call did they call a foul on it?
I think so.
I think they called it a goaltend.
No, they push.
Oh, it was a push, yeah. That could have been a goaltend because it was very close. That shot from Gideon got pinned against the backboard. Iffy call, and luckily he gets the foul. So Cade Gideon.
That was Tarvis Washington who ended up getting it.
Cade Gideon, the freshman, with a chance here to put this one away. Biggest shots of the game right now from the pressure cooker. 43-43. Gideon's first one, good. So the 1-and-1 with the freshman at the line.
What did you say, Lowen? You said it earlier. Could come down to free throws.
Could come down to free throws. That's exactly right. Here we are with Gideon getting set to shoot one more. Sailors lead 44-43, but not before a timeout on the floor.
Yeah, Tyron Wright wants to talk to his troops from Mitchell. And interesting, man, because what you're looking at now is double bonus. If Mitchell gives another foul to the Sailors, it's two immediately from the line. I know what you're talking about, right? You don't just force it to the line. It's just a possessive foul if the Sailors right to do it now. But I kind of like where they're at because they've got the 1-point lead. Give them a foul, right? Set up. Make sure that you kind of calm down. You're ready to go. And Coach Vandal, is talking to him about what he's expecting defensively after this second shot for Cade.
So Gideon's got one more. It's 44-43. Gideon has a chance to put the Sailors up by 2. Now, even if he does so, there's still 34 seconds left on the clock. More than plenty enough time for the Marauders to...
What do they do, right? This is it, especially in high school ball. Three-pointer, do you trust your guy that much? Do you just try and tie it up and go for overtime? In a game where you haven't led at all? It's pretty interesting. I see that Coach Maniotis from Moffat County is in the stands with his son Chris. They were losing to Gunnison the whole game until Chris dropped a 3 on him with 24 seconds left. So, I mean, we don't
discuss Moffat County basketball on this station.
I do.
Unfortunately, Vlad. Sailors. Gideon missed the second free throw, 44-43. Here's Ferris driving in, and Ferris is going to get fouled. Dom Ferris with a chance to take the lead. It's a 1-point game, 25 seconds on the clock, and Ferris just took that one coast to coast.
Yeah, he was able to break through. Great job splitting the defender. Steamboat was trying desperately to steal it. Ferris, good for his first. I mean, he's the kid that's got it, man. He's got it. He's like, give me the ball.
He's got ice in his veins. Ferris trying to take the lead. And Dom Ferris is going to give the Mitchell Marauders a 1.45-44 lead.
So here you go. Now, here's the interesting thing. You don't even need to go for 3.
Don't even need to go for a 3. You just go for the win.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, Coach Vandal, he's drawn something up that we probably have never seen before.
Eric Pollard just checked in.
Eric Pollard just checked in. So it looks, this is interesting. It looks like they're going to have Lindquist, Crawford, Pollard, Gideon, and Metzler. Yeah, never mind. I misread a number there. I was confused. But yeah, so he's got
the freshman in.
So he's got Metzler in the corner. He's got Gideon at the top. He's got Crawford in the corner, and then he's got Lindquist and Pollard inside. He's got his perfect lineup right now.
And it's fun because earlier you mentioned, right, those 2 big guys kind of playing a pick and roll doesn't work a whole lot, but we've seen it. He's successful today. Does he go back to that potentially? You know, I mean, Coach Vandal, he's not going to just have drawn up one thing. He's got 2 or 3. Okay, if we come out and they're pressing, here's what we're doing. If we come out and there's soft coverage, here's what we're doing.
First they have to get it all the way down the floor, and this is where the trickiest part comes in. Here we go now, Devin Crawford. He'll inbound it. Crawford from the opposite side. They're going to call off the dogs and drop back into defense. Lindquist is here. He's got 20 seconds on the clock. Sailors are down by 1. Dom Ferris is guarding Metzler, and they switch to a zone defense. Here we go now. It's Lindquist dancing with it, and Coach Vandal didn't like what he saw out there, and I can promise you that it was the zone defense put in play by Tyron Wright. That's a chess move right there, Vlad, because they've been playing man the entire game, and so Coach Vandal probably drew a plan up for man defense. So he comes out, sees the zone, Sailors call a timeout. They're going to have another opportunity. This time, though, they've only got 10.8 on the clock.
But you don't have to get it all the way down. You're going to start, at that midcourt line. So interesting dynamic to the end of this one. Lone, you got to love it. This is playoff basketball at its finest. We talked about it in the pregame show. Is one team going to roll the other? There's potential for either to do so. That's not at all what we've seen. A really, really tight battle. And you know what? I'd almost expect this one because of what you said. These are 2 teams that play very similar styles. And so when you kind of look at that and look at the factor of who does Steamboat have? Nobody. Eric Pollard doesn't have to match up with anybody. This has been fun and kind of played out exactly how I would have wanted it to. It's a tight game. Now, Sailors just need to win.
So no adjustments for the Sailors as they come out onto the floor. It's going to be Gideon, Crawford, Pollard, Metzler, and Lindquist to close this one out. Let's see if they can do it. 10.8 on the clock. Sailors down by 1. It's going to be Crawford inbounding. Crawford gives it to Lindquist. Lindquist now, top of the key, runs off the screen. Pruitt got the steal, and now he comes all the way down. That'll do it. That will be the end of it. The Sailors lose on a Pruitt steal.
No, it's 1.2 left. There's a foul.
And the Sailors just filled with agony. What a way for this one to end, man. Leroy Pruitt, the 6'1" senior, with the steal. And on the other end, the foul. And what a disappointing way for
that to go down, Vlad. I was really ready for a buzzer beater.
I thought that there would have been something different than that. It seemed like that Sailor squad was a little lethargic. Right after getting the ball, Dawson didn't really stress anything. He was trying to call for some plays. But, man, you got to make sure that you're on it.
It looked like there was a little miscommunication because did you see Lindquist at the top of the key?
He was having to call.
He was calling for somebody.
And that's taken off precious seconds. Now all of a sudden it's not over per se, but it for all intents and purposes is, right? That's right. Hey man, this is what ESPN highlight reels are made of.
45-44.
They make both of these and you still could get a 3-ball.
We could be on top 10 here in 5 hours. I don't know. So at the line is Tarvis Washington. And he has a chance to really put this one away, and he hits that free throw. He'll have one more to make it a 3-point game. 1.2 on the clock, like you said, Vlad. Leroy Pruitt coming away with the steal. And the free throw's good. So the Sailors are going to have 1 second here to make a miraculous shot. Gideon, he'll heave it all the way down, finds Lindquist, and Lindquist gets it off. Lindquist!
Oh, my goodness.
That wins out, and Dawson Lindquist, what a shot that would have been. And the agony of defeat as the Sailors succumb to the hands of Leroy Pruitt. What a game from both the Sailors and the Marauders. Thanks, Vlad, so much for being in the booth with me. That was such a great game to call. What a fun thing to be a part of here at Kelly Meek Gymnasium. For Vlad and Chase, I'm Lowen Epstein on 105.7 KTYV and on the World Wide Web at SteamboatRadio.com for the final time this season, saying thank you and good night.
Right.